Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a modern workplace fable today that is going to completely challenge everything we think we know about career growth. Seriously, it's the kind of story that makes you look at your own daily habits and forces you to answer a pretty fundamental question about what it actually means to be successful at work.
So think about it. Does the hardest worker always make the best leader? It's a huge question, right? Because understanding the difference between being a high-performing individual contributor and being a true leader is the absolute core of what we're talking about today. In almost every company, we naturally tend to reward the people who grind the hardest, produce the absolute most output, and crush every single deadline. But is that raw output actually an indicator of leadership potential?
Section 1. Meet the star performer. To really get this dynamic, let's look at two totally different coworkers at a fictional company called ABC Technologies. First up, we have Arav. He is your classic task-driven rock star. The guy is brilliant, he's at the office late every single night, he's cracking the hardest problems, and he's always beating his deadlines. Then you have Nisha. Now, Nisha is much quieter. She isn't the absolute fastest worker on the floor, not by a long shot, but she has a completely different superpower. She is this highly collaborative, empathy-driven enabler who always takes the time to help others understand their work.
Well, naturally, a shakeup happens. One day, the company announces they're opening up a new team lead position. And man, the office rumor mill fires up immediately. Everyone just assumes Arav's technical brilliance makes him an absolute shoo-in for the promotion. I mean, after all, he's the star performer, right? He's the one putting the most points on the board.
But here is where we hit a really critical crossroads. Who's actually going to get the role? Does the most technically gifted person, literally the one making the most widgets, automatically win the promotion when leadership is on the line? Basically, we're asking, is technical mastery the exact same thing as leadership mastery?
Section 2. The empty chair interview.
This brings us to the final interview, and it completely ignores technical skills. No coding tests, no massive spreadsheets, no portfolio reviews. Instead, the HR director does something wildly unusual. She pulls an empty chair right into the middle of the room, smiles at the candidates, and says, "Imagine this chair belongs to a new employee joining your team tomorrow. Tell us exactly how you're going to help this person succeed." This is known as the empty chair test, and it's brilliant because it's designed to strip away all those individual metrics and force the candidate to focus entirely on human development.
And wow, does this ever highlight Arav's ego-driven mindset? When he looks at the empty chair, Arav answers with pure, unwavering confidence. He says he'll assign tasks based strictly on deadlines. He'll rigorously review the work to make sure it's on time, and, listen to this part, he says, if someone can't perform, I'll just do it myself. He literally views leadership purely as a mechanism for managing deadlines. To him, the team is just a machine to crank out work, and if a gear breaks, he'll just do the heavy lifting himself. The interview panel, they just nodded, in a very long, very uncomfortable silence.
Now, contrast that completely with Nisha's answer. When she looks at that empty chair, she doesn't see a resource for getting tasks done. She sees a human being. She tells the panel her first move would be asking why they wanted to join this profession in the first place. She's focused on understanding their unique strengths. She wants to give them small, early wins to build up their confidence and create a safe space where they can make mistakes without completely panicking. And most importantly, she says, if they succeed, I'll make sure everyone knows it was their achievement, not mine.
Section 3. The true meaning of leadership.
The really crucial point here is how the panel reacted to those vastly different approaches. You've got one candidate who will do the work for you if you fail, and another who's going to build an environment where you're fully empowered to succeed on your own. Fast forward a week, the results drop, and to everyone's absolute shock, Nisha becomes the new team lead. Arav's jaw is practically on the floor. He just cannot fathom how he was passed over when he literally delivered more projects than anyone else in the entire company.
Desperate for answers, Arav marches up to the HR director and asks why he didn't get it. And she drops this absolute truth bomb on him. She smiles gently and says, "You are excellent at completing work." She lets that sink in, giving him credit where it's due, but then she delivers the devastating reality. But leaders don't just complete work. They create more people who can. Wow. It is such a profound difference between simply finishing a task yourself and enabling an entire ecosystem of other people to finish tasks.
Section 4. The ultimate leadership legacy.
Those words hit Arav like a ton of bricks, and they fundamentally changed him. Instead of getting bitter or resentful about losing out to Nisha, he actually let the feedback humble him. He realized that for his entire career, he'd been chasing the completely wrong metric.
He had to shift his mindset from competing with his own teammates to actively mentoring them. So instead of hoarding all the hard stuff and doing everything himself, he rewired his daily routine. He started pulling junior developers aside to mentor them. He took the time to patiently explain complex code rather than just silently rewriting it. He dove into reviewing pull requests specifically to help others learn, and he started loudly, publicly celebrating his colleagues' win.
And you know what? A few months later, that deliberate transformation paid off in a massive way. When the next leadership position opened up, it wasn't just management looking at him. Almost every single employee in his department recommended Arav for the job. And this time, he got the promotion. Not because he was the smartest guy in the room, but because he finally understood the difference between being merely valuable and being truly indispensable to a team's growth. That all experience stuck with him so deeply that he created his own tradition. For years after that, whenever a new employee joined his team, Arav would leave one chair completely empty during his meetings. And when people would inevitably ask him, "Hey, what's with the spare chair?" he'd smile and tell them that it reminds him that his greatest success is absolutely not what he achieves alone. His true success is who succeeds because of him.
And that beautifully sums up our entire explainer today. Success is measured by what you accomplish. Leadership is measured by what you help others accomplish. Such a powerful distinction, and it really forces us to look in the mirror. So leaving you with this thought, when you log in tomorrow morning, which mindset are you bringing to the table? Are you just completing the work, or are you creating more people who can?